discharge. Here you need to know in detail on discharge. Yeah. Here you need to know detail on discharge of contract. Okay, when talking about discharge, yeah, can anyone of you explain to me what is your understanding of discharge? What do you mean by discharge, first of all? Can anyone of you explain to me what's your understanding of discharge? What do you mean by discharge?
This discharge is like the end of the agreement.
End of the agreement.
Yes.
Okay. Anything you want to add into that? Other than that, discharge, okay, is an ending of an agreement. Because once an agreement has been formed, all agreement has to come to an end someday, right? All agreements has to come to an end someday, because some agreements are long, some agreements are short, but end of the day, all agreements has to come to an end someday. Just matter of time here. So how an agreement can come to an end? Not only in Malaysia, but universally. Not only in Malaysia, but universally, there are 4 ways in which a contract can be discharged, or an agreement can be discharged. Okay, what's the difference between contract and agreement? Yeah. Can anyone help me? Cassandra, can you help me? What's the difference between a contract and an agreement? Is it the same, or is there any differences?
Teacher, I cannot find the notes, so I have to have time a bit.
Okay, he can't find the notes in mind. Okay, Shahira, can you help? Shahira, can you help us? Boleh, Shahira?
I'm not sure.
Okay, also. Shirley? Shirley, boleh tolong?
Yes.
Tell me, yeah, tell me.
I'll not really remember, but macam the contract need to have like the 6 elements, like those acceptance, offer, the considerations are those. But agreement no need. Agreement is just a mutual understanding between 2 parties.
Okay. So what you're trying to say? So, Shirley, what you're trying to say, in your understanding, the difference between a contract and agreement is, for a contract, you need all the 6 elements. That is offer, acceptance, consideration, intention to create legal relationship, capacity, and certainty. All these elements needed for a contract. Whereas you're saying that for an agreement, you don't need all these things, because agreement is a mutual understanding between 2 parties where you don't need these 6 elements. So that means only contract is a valid binding agreement. Only contract is a valid binding agreement, whereas only contract is a valid binding agreement which can be enforced by the court of law. Whereas agreement is just a mutual understanding. Not necessary it can be enforced by the court of law. Not necessary it has to be a valid binding. Am I right? That's the difference, yeah? Okay, now going back. So discharge means here, an agreement or contract has been formed between the parties. Can be 1 party or 2 parties, can be 1 plaintiff or 10 plaintiffs, and can be 1 defendant or whatever, yeah? Okay, so here, universally, there are 4 ways in which a contract can be discharged or brought to an end. Am I right? Not only in Malaysia. One is by performance, second one by mutual agreement, the third one is by breach, and the fourth one is by frustration. Am I right? Okay, now, T. Hao Jun, can you explain any one of these? T. Hao Jun, can you explain to me any one of these? T. Hao Jun, are you on the line?
Explain what?
Any one ways in which a contract can be discharged. Anyone? There are 4 ways, I told you, right? Performance, breach, mutual agreement, and frustration. Right? Can you explain any one of these to me? Yes. You explain just any one of these to me, very briefly. Yes.
I can explain the frustration one.
Yes, can, of course you can explain frustration. Yes, tell me what's your understanding of frustration? What do you mean by frustration and what's your understanding of frustration? Yes. Tell me. Yeah.
Um, frustration is like when the contract is not possible to be able to act upon it.
Okay. Tell me. Yeah, I'm listening.
And based on the section 57 subsection 2, it says that like the contract to do an act which after the contract is made becomes impossible.
Okay. Anything you want to add into that? Anything you want to add into that? That's it, or anything more than that?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You see, when you're talking about frustration, yeah, frustration comes under Section 57 of Contract Act 1950. Frustration, the definition given under Section 57 of Contract Act 1957 is, yeah, at the time of entering into an agreement. The definition given under Section 57 it is here, at the time of entering into an agreement or contract, it is practical and possible to execute the agreement. At the time of entering into an agreement, it is practical and possible to execute that agreement. But after entering into an agreement, but before the performance, after entering into an agreement, but before the performance, in between some supervening event which has taken place had made the contract impossible to be performed. That impossibility in law is known as the contract is being frustrated. Okay. Now, the elements needed to establish frustration is frustration must be outside the contemplation of the parties, meaning the parties to the agreement should not be the cause of the frustrating event. If they are the cause of the frustrating event, that in law you call as a self-induced. Self-induced is not a frustration. So frustration should be outside the contemplation of the parties. Okay, now going back to you, T, yeah? What are the situations in which a frustration can take place? What are situations in which a frustration can take place?
What do you mean by the situation?
Okay, which situation of frustration can take place? Or anyone can help me. Anyone can help me other than T. Anyone. Which are the situations in which a frustration can take place? What are the scenario or what are the circumstances in which a frustration can take place?
When the
Really?
single maybe they have, do the contract with the person, but in the halfway he dead or what, he cannot perform.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other? So that means, yeah, frustration can take place in few situations. Death of a person fall ill, natural disaster, change of government policy. Am I right? All these situations of frustration can take place. Am I right? Betul kan? Okay. Now, any cases to support? Okay, that's what I told you here. Frustration should be outside the control of the parties. That means outside the contemplation of the parties. The parties to the agreement should not be the cause of the frustrating event. If they are the cause of the frustrating event, then that is self-induced. Self-induced is not a frustration. I told you all right. And also you need to know frustration only comes in as a last resort, as a last avenue. When there is an alternative way to carry out the agreement or contract, then you should carry it out. Even though it's going to cost you more time, more money, you still have to carry it out. You can only declare a contract being frustrated if there is no other way to carry out the agreement. Becomes impossible. There's no alternative. Only then you can declare that that particular agreement is being frustrated. Okay, any case to support that, the last scenario I've given you? Any case? You see here, now, as what I told you, subject matter is missing, or the venue is burned down. Still a frustration. Let's say you want to have a function tomorrow in a hall. That hall is burned down tonight. Tomorrow morning supposed to be the function. Here the contract has been frustrated, am I right? Because the venue is burned down. Too short a notice to inform the participants also, am I right? Okay, there the case you can cite is the case of Taylor versus Caldwell, am I right? Betul kan? Okay, going back, I told you last resort. When there's no other alternative, only then you can declare the contract is being frustrated. Any case to support that? You remember I given you one case, Toll Nobly. Have you heard of this case? Toll Nobly was the Shishik clause.
Yes.
This is the leading case to establish that frustration can only be declared when there is no other alternative. In that particular case, the judge said there is an alternative way to carry out the agreement, right? You remember that is the agreement between one country in Africa, Sudan, and another country in West Germany, am I right? They wanted to do some shipment of sugar, flour from Sudan to West Germany. So at the time of entering the agreement, so one party thought that they could send the goods to Germany through Suez Canal. Suez Canal is a shortcut to go to Europe, am I right? But when the shipment is about to be done, the Suez Canal is Terusan Suez, Terusan Suez, an artificial river for the ship to go through, was closed for renovation. So one party said the contract is being frustrated because Suez Canal was closed. Another party said there's an alternative way to go from Sudan to West Germany. That is through the Cape of Good Hope. You round Africa and you go, but it's going to take a longer time, more money is involved. But argument ended up in the court. And when this case went to court, the judge said, as long there is an alternative way to carry out the agreement, even though it's going to cost you more time, more money, you still have to carry it out. But here, there's a route to go to West Germany from Sudan, from Africa, That is through Cape of Good Hope. So you still have to carry out that agreement. You cannot say that the agreement is being frustrated. But there is no other route to go to West Germany. Only then you can declare. And also, under frustration, you need to know Section 66. Section 66 of the Contract Act, because this Section 66 touches on remedies. Because Section 66 says no parties should be enriched because of the frustrating event. Meaning, no party should become or should take advantage of the frustrating event. Example, let's say A and B. A and B has entered into an agreement. After entering into agreement, he has given 20,000 ringgit as a deposit to do the initial work to B. A has given 20,000 to B to do initial work. After giving the money, a frustration has taken place. But B did not do any work. That 20,000 should be returned back to A. If, let's say, after giving the 20,000, we have done some initial preparatory work. Let's say you have spent 10,000 ringgit doing some preparatory work. In that situation, only the balance 10,000 should be reverted back to A, because B has already utilized 10,000 to do the initial work. So what the law saying under Section 66, no party should be enriched or should take advantage of the frustrating event. Whatever money given, if no work is done, should be returned back. Hello? Are you all clear on what is frustration now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Shahira, can you explain another way in which a frustration can take place? A discharge can take place? Shahira, are you on the line?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Is
Tell
it
me,
like,
Shahida. Other
is
ways
it-
in which a contract can be brought to an end other than frustration.
is it like breach?
Huh?
Breach.
What's that?
Breach.
Okay, bridge, yes, of course, bridge can. Okay, tell me, what's your understanding of bridge? Tell me. What's your understanding of bridge?
One parties who breaches the condition only can discharge.
Okay, so that means, yeah, you are talking about bridge. Bridge comes under which section? Bridge comes under which section of the Contract Act? You need to explain that. Discharge by breach, you need to explain, right? Breach means here, one party has failed to fulfill, the obligation or the main terms of an agreement, right? One party has breached in fulfilling the main term of an agreement. So the affected party has the right to discharge the agreement and claim for whatever loss, damage, or injury suffered. Am I right? Because it must be a breach of condition, only then you can discharge an agreement. So here you need to differentiate between breach of condition and breach of warranty. Breach of condition comes under section 12, subsection 2, and breach of warranty comes under section 12, subsection 3. Only in breach of condition you can discharge an agreement and claim for whatever loss, damage, or injury suffered. Whereas breach of warranty, which comes under section 12, subsection 3 of AGN 1957, you cannot discharge because warranty is only a minor breach, not the main term of the breach. So, if one party has breach of warranty, you can claim for whatever loss or damage suffered because of the breach of warranty and continue with the agreement. You cannot discharge an agreement. You can only discharge if it's a breach of condition. Okay, you only can discharge here. Breach comes under section 40 of the Contract Act. It comes under section 40 of the Contract Act. Am I right? Breach. Okay, any cases you can support here? Any cases you can support here for breach of contract? Breach, any cases can you support here for breach? Hello, any cases you can bring in here for breach? Any cases you can discuss for breach, please? Anyone? What's the case? I've given you all this case a couple of times. You know, what's the case for breach of discharge? Breach. Come. Quick. Hello, earlier, you remember when we did express term, I've given you all one case, right? What's the case I've given you all? When we all discuss about express term, we talk about breach of condition and breach of warranty. Am I right? What is the case I've given there? What is the case I've given there for breach? Hello?
Carter vs Powell.
Hey, a counter versus that is for performance. That is for performance. That is definitely not for breach. That is for performance. That case is for performance. Performance we have not done yet. For breach.
The smelter that.
Associated Metal Smelters with the Thumb Chupo, am I right? That case you can use here for breach because that's a breach of condition, right? Am I right? Betul kan? That case you can apply here. That case you can apply here, breach of condition. Breach of discharge by breach. Discharge by breach. Breach comes under section 40, yeah? Breach comes under section 40 of the Contract Act. So here you need to explain in detail and you need to support with a case. You need to support with a case here. Okay, I give you all one case here. Go and do some work on this case. It's for breach of contract. Yeah, other than Associated Metal, you can also apply this case. Yeah, you can also apply this case. The name of the case Hua Chia Lin. Hua HWA. What is Chia, CHEA, Lin, LIN versus Malim Jaya, Malim M-A-L-I-M, Jaya, J-A-Y-A, Sendirian Berhad versus Sendirian Berhad. Or another case, yeah, Choo, C-H-O-O, In, Y-I-N, Lu, L-O-O, versus Visuwalingam Pillai. Okay? Got it? Hello?
Sir, these two cases under what?
For breach of
Okay.
contract. For
The
breach
extra
for
case, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
You can mention any one of the cases, any one of the cases.
Is
last
the
one
breach of warranty or condition?
No, these are breach of condition.
Okay.
Okay, you got all the three cases? Hello? Dapat?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, we have done 2 ways, am I right? What's the third way? What is the third way in which a contract can be discharged? What is the third way in which a contract can be discharged? Hello? One is the
Mutual agreement.
mutual. Okay, what you mean by mutual? Can any one of you all explain to me? Okay.
But mutual is like if both of the parties agree that the one want to end the agreement, then the agreement can be discharged.
Okay, so that means both of the parties must be willingly and voluntarily. Both of the parties must be willingly and voluntarily agree to end it. Am I right? They must be willingly and voluntarily agree to end it. Only then you can discharge by mutual. Okay, so that means, yeah, if let's say there are 20 parties in that agreement, 19 of them are telling, let's end it. And one person say, no, we'll carry on and we'll continue with the agreement. That means, yeah, 19 of them, majority of them saying, let's discharge this agreement. But one person saying, no, we'll continue and finish it. Can you discharge by mutual here?
Cannot.
Cannot. Because here, each and every party must be willingly and voluntarily. The keyword there is willingly and voluntarily. Only then you can discharge. You cannot use duress. You cannot use duress. Duress comes under section. What? Duress comes under which section? Section 15 of the Contract Act, am I right? Or you cannot also use what? Duress or undue influence. Under section 16 of Contract Act, right? You cannot. So here must be willingly and voluntarily each and every party. Only then you can discharge by mutual. So that means, yeah, why the parties are ending an agreement by mutual, you know why? Because both parties, they feel that it is not practical for them to continue the agreement because neither one of the parties are going to make any profit. Neither of the parties are going to make any profit. So mutually they agree to end it. Or after entering the agreement, both parties knew that there's going to be a civil war in the country. There's going to be a civil war in the country. Okay, then they feel that if once the war, then of course it's not practical for them to carry out, right? Then they agree to end it before the civil war comes in. Or they're going to know that there's going to be a natural disaster. There's going to be a natural disaster. And then they're ending it. Or let's say this agreement was signed last year, in February this year. And then let's say somewhere in March, they know that this coronavirus is going to come in, am I right? Then the parties feel that it's not worth to continue the agreement, and then they discharge it. It could be any reason, can be a natural disaster, can be a war. Am I right? So they agree amicably to settle it amicably. So if any money is given between the parties, it should be reverted back and returned back, And again, no party should take advantage of this situation also, because every party willingly and voluntarily agree to end it. Whatever money paid for should be returned back. Okay, for this, I'm not going to give you all any case. Go and search a case. Maybe next week you all can let me know what's the case you have searched for. I won't forget, don't worry. Okay, for mutual. And the last one, what's the last one? What's the last one? The last way in which a contract can be discharged. Yes, tell me.
Performance.
Okay, you are the one who did mention in the beginning itself performance, right? Okay, can you please explain What is performance in your understanding?
Performance is both party done their, done their work or their task 100% or completely done their task.
Okay. Okay, performance comes under which section of the Contract Act? Performance comes under which section of the Contract Act?
Section 37 and 38.
It comes under section 37 and 38 of the Contract Act, right? Performance means, yeah, you see, a simple, performance means, yeah, the parties are entering into an agreement to do certain conduct or obligation as per the terms of the agreement, right? Parties entering because the parties have already entered the agreement with terms and conditions, right? So both parties need to fulfill whatever obligation or terms which they've agreed to undertake. Once all these obligation has taken place or completed, then automatically the agreement comes to an end, because the purpose of them entering to an agreement is to do certain obligation or to fulfill all the terms. Once all the terms and conditions have been fulfilled and once the agreement has been executed, has been completed, then automatically the agreement. Because the law under section 37 and section 38 says that, very important, yeah, performance must be 100% completed. The old law says performance must be 100% completed. Only then you can discharge an agreement. Once the agreement has been discharged, then the parties will be paid for whatever services which they've rendered. Okay. So once the agreement has been discharged, only then the parties will be paid for whatever services which they have rendered. But this 100% performance has completed some injustice to one party, am I right? So what's the case which has conducted some injustice? What's the case which has conducted some injustice? Can you tell me which case which has conducted some injustice? What's the case which has conducted injustice? Which is the case which has conducted some injustice? Hello? Can anyone of you help me? Which case has conducted some injustice? You remember Carter versus Powell, am I right? Hello?
Yes.
Because you remember that's a shipping case where the sailor died halfway through and he could not complete the journey, am I right? So the wife, the widow of the dead man requested to ask the captain of the vessel to pay whatever services the husband has rendered, even though the husband has completed almost like 80 to 90% of the job. But the captain said, I cannot pay you anything because the performance is not 100% completed, only 90% completed, still remaining 5 or 10%. So therefore, I cannot discharge the agreement. Once the agreement has been discharged, only then I can pay. But here the agreement has not been discharged, I cannot pay any money. So she got upset and she sued the captain. And when this case went to the court, the judge said, yes, this agreement cannot be discharged because still remaining 10%. So cannot discharge. Only discharge the parties will be paid for. Of course, it's very injustice to one party, right? This is where they've eradicated that 100% performance, and now they go into divisible or stage by stage. When 1/3 is completed, you get 1/3 money of paid. When the next stage, you pay. So if after doing one stage or one phase, but the parties are not happy, then you can bring in another party to continue. So it's a win-win situation for both parties. It's a win-win situation for both parties. Are you following? So any cases can you cite here? Any cases can you cite here for discharge by performance? Hello? Any cases? Okay, you can use this case here. Take down and go and do some work on this case here. Capital K, capital P. Capital K, capital P, yeah? Kunji Raman, Kunchi, Kunji Raman, Raman, versus Go Brothers Sendirian Berhad. Versus Go Brothers Sendirian Berhad. You got the case? Hello? Hello? Dapat atau tidak?
Dapat.
Okay. You got that case, yeah? that one of the leading case you can cite here. One of the leading case here you can cite. Go and do some work on that case, or I'll give you another case. You can also use this case also here for breach here. Kejuruteraan elektrik usaha maju Sdn Bhd versus Zilat Mas Malaysia Sdn Bhd. You can also use this case. Okay.
Sir, repeat.
Kejuruteraan elektrik usaha maju Sdn Bhd versus Zilat ZILAT Mas Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Malaysian Sdn Bhd. Okay, you see here. Now, another thing you all need to know on this performance here, when you're talking about performance here, you need to know also here, the performance must be completed within the time stipulated in the agreement. If let's say the agreement says this performance must be conducted within 24 months, then it should be conducted and completed within 24 months, unless and until one party has given an extension. No extension is given, but should be completed the performance 24 months, and this one party has not completed, then the other party can discharge that agreement and claim for the loss also. And also here, performance here, the agreement must begin as stipulated. If let's say the agreement says that the performance should begin on the 20th of March 2020, 20th of March 2020, example here, it must commence on that particular date. Time is very, very important, and the ending of the agreement as per the agreement also very important. If the parties never fulfill this thing, also here can lead to discharge. Very, very important. Clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions you all have? How many areas have we covered now so far? Tell me. How many areas have we covered now so far? How many areas have we covered so far? Hello? How many areas have we covered?
4.
Huh? Betul ke?
Yeah.
You bagus, huh?
The invitation to trade, the terms of contract, the consideration, and the discharge of agreement.
Hello, Miss. Hello, Miss. Which is the Miss who was talking just now? Shelly,
Yeah.
No, Shelly. Terms of contract and concession goes together. So only we have covered 3 areas. That means, yeah, invitation to trade, and the other one is second one is terms of contract and consideration, all that together, and the third one is discharge.
Okay.
Fine.
Yes.
Now another area. You have, in fact, for your midterm exam, you have 5 questions you have to answer any all, you know. Okay, the other one is vicarious liability. I think vicarious liability, yeah. Are you all okay on vicarious liability? You all know what's vicarious liability, right? Hello? Hello, you all know what is vicarious liability?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who said the loud yes here just now? Siapa yang kata a very loud Y-E-S? Shelly, is it? Or Janice?
Yeah.
Janice or Shelly?
Me.
Shelly. Okay, Shelly, can you explain? Give me a definition of what is vicarious liability, Janice. Shelly. Give me a definition.
The vicarious, is it the employment that I not really remember.
Yes. Betul. Tell me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's say I'm asking you, define vicarious liability. What is your definition? Tell me.
I forget. I forget.
Okay. Janice, can you help her? Janice, can you help her?
In my understanding,
That is what I will do. Janice, you help her when during the exam, when I'm marking the script, Shelley's 5 mark, I'll give it to you.
then I don't know. I cannot do that.
Okay, tell me, try, Janice, try.
In my understanding, is this the duty of care for the employer to the employee?
Okay, vicarious liability, yes. Okay, now, you see, vicarious liability means, the employer is vicariously liable towards the third party for the negligent act of their employee in the course of executing the duty where they have caused loss or damage to third parties. Betul kan?
So in the exam, we have to written it so long and so.
Yes. It is so simple, right? So simple, right?
No, not really simple.
Teacher, we cannot write in our own book.
You can put in your own words. Okay, you see, now, that is the definition, What are the elements? What are the elements needed to establish vicarious liability? What are the elements? There must be an employer-employee relationship. There must be an employer-employee relationship. What do you mean by there must be an employer-employee relationship? Can anyone help me? What do you mean by there must be an employer-employee relationship? What do you mean by that?
They must have a contract between each.
What do you mean by that? There must be an employer-employee relationship. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? There must be an employer-employee relationship. What do you mean by that?
They must have a contract between each other.
There must be a contract between each other, is it? Betul ke? Is it there must be? What do you think? What do you think?
Yes, true. And it should be contract of service. It's not contract for service.
When I say there must be an employer-employee relationship, it must come under, there must be contract of service and not for service. Contract of service comes under Section 2 of the Employment Act 1955, right? Section 2 of the Employment Act says, what the section of that section says, that section says? Hello? What that section says?
Section 2.
What the section 2 says? What the section 2 says?
This is only applied for the contract of service. There is an employee and employer. But
No, I want to know what you mean by contract of service. Okay, what is section 2 says? What do you mean by your general understanding of section 2? What do you mean by section 2?
For the definition of good.
Definition of goods,
I'm not sure.
Hey, hello, definition of goods, section 2 of the Sales of Goods Act 1957.
Yeah, what you mean section 2 on
Section 2 of the Employment Act 1955. I'm referring to Employment Act 1955. I'm referring to Employment Act 1955. I'm referring to, you see, Section 2 says employment agreement is an agreement which takes place between the employer and employee with terms and conditions normally decided by the employer. Am I right? Normally decided by the employer. Am I right? Betul kan? Hello? Can you hear me?
can you repeat us for the explanation for Section 2?
Okay, Section 2 of the Employment Act. I was just playing with my computer. I don't know. I cannot see even my face now. What happened? Yeah. Can you see my face or not?
No.
I myself cannot see my face now. I myself cannot see. I don't know what I was playing with my. Okay, but can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Section 2 of the Employment Act 1955 says, employment is an agreement between an employer and employee with terms and conditions normally decided by the employer. So Section 2 says, Section 2, that means it basically gives you the definition of employment agreement. Employment agreement is an agreement which takes place between the employer and employee with terms and conditions normally decided by the employer. So that means there must be an employer-employee relationship first. So that means here, what are elements needed to establish vicarious liability? There must be an employer-employee relationship. Once you have that, then second thing is the instruction should have been given by the employer, either by the employer or anyone appointed by the employer. Can be the supervisor, can be the manager, or anyone has given an instruction. That's the second element. The third element is, what is the third element? The loss, damage, or injury should have been caused at the time of executing the duty by the employee. And fourthly, there must be loss, damage, or injury suffered by the third party due to the negligent act of the employee. So this you need to explain all these things. And then another part also you need to know, why are they making the employer liable for the negligent act of the employee? Why are they making the employer liable? Because here only the employee is liable, am I right? Only the employee is liable here, right? Okay, can you all see my face now?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just playing and my face came out now. Okay, so here what I'm trying to say here, why are they making the employer liable for the negligent act of the employee? Here the employee is negligent, not the employer, right? But why are they making the employer liable? Why? What's the reasoning? You need to know. Okay, can anyone of you tell me very quickly what the reasoning here? Why are they making the employer liable? Why? Come, quick.
Because the employer is taking the benefits from the employee ma.
Okay.
So
tell me.
Yeah, that's it. So any injury and loss should be liable to the employer.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is the employer is benefiting from the employee. At the same time, he must be able to take the risk also, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay, that's one. Okay, any others? Jia, can you tell me the second reasoning? Jia, Quing Tan, are you on the line? Tada. I didn't want the same person to answer always, Everyone should participate. Cassandra, are you on the line? Cassandra?
Yeah. Teacher, I don't have any.
Oh, you don't have any? Okay. Shahira, Akma, Shahira? Shahira, can you help me? Shahira, sorry.
Yes.
Can you help me, Shahira?
Yes, what's the question again?
Question is, why are they making the employer liable for the negligent act of the employee? Why? Why are they making the employer liable for the negligent act of the employee? Why?
Because the employee is the one who has given the instruction to the employee to carry out those, like the duty and everything.
Okay, so the instruction is given by the employer. So therefore, the employee is carrying out whatever instruction given by the employer, right? In the course of carrying out that, this negligence has taken place, right? Okay. Okay. Any other reasoning? The employer is the one who has recruited the incompetent employee, am I right? So therefore, he should be able to take the responsibility also, because he's the one who has recruited this incompetent employee, right? So he has to bear the liability. And maybe another reasoning is the employer should have given proper training before putting him into the job market, am I right? Or before letting him to carry out the work independently. Maybe perhaps he has not been given enough training or coaching or whatever. Any other than all these things? Anything else? Hello?
Sorry, teacher, can I ask one question? This all thing, is it under OSHA?
No. This got nothing to do with OSHA, you know. This 100% I'm talking on vicarious liability. OSHA, you're talking about the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1994. That is more on the protection under the law.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Here I'm talking about vicarious liability. So another thing is, of course, the employer is the one who is financially sound, am I right? If you make the employee liable, let's say the loss to a third party is 100,000, but the employee is earning only 1 month's salary, 1,500 ringgit. How is he going to pay to the third party for the loss or damage suffered? Am I right? Not practical, am I? So the third party would not be getting anything end of the day. So here the employer is the one who's with a deep pocket, who is financially sound. So they're making the employer liable. And also, most of the time, the deep pocket is one thing. And the second thing is that, most of the time, the employer have a group insurance coverage for all the employees. He'll be paying a premium every year for the insurance company. If any incident, this sort of things happen, then the insurance company will be making the payment towards the third party. So these are the reasoning which, why are they making the employer liable? And then, of course, you have to support with the relevant cases here. You have to support with the relevant cases. This all comes under one heading. Maybe, and then here you also have one on OSHA. Somebody reminded me on OSHA, right? You have also one area on OSHA and also one on courts on the Malaysian legal system. These are 5 areas here. Right. Yes, correct. These are 5 areas. No, I think more than 5 areas. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, you have set 7 areas for you. You have to answer any 4. Vicarious liability, invitation to trade, discharge, and also they have nuisance also. Nuisance. Okay, whatever it is, I've covered 4 main areas today, right? Maybe what we'll do here, can we have a 1-hour session in between? Right?
Can.
Yeah. Okay, what we'll do is that maybe we into your year 1 group. Am I right? Is it year 1 group? Your WhatsApp group, year 1 group. I'll put it in there. I'll not use the other thing. I'll put it in there. Then we'll discuss it. Maybe I'll go through your costs and nuisance and so on. OSHA. You know why? You see, listen carefully here. Whatever areas we have here, it also overlaps with your that areas as part of your function also. Are you following?
Yes.
So what we'll do that we'll just end the class here now, and in between you all have anything, just WhatsApp me in that group, and we'll keep in touch. But your exam, I think they will be sending all the notice very soon. Yeah, between I think is it on the 18th or 21st? Yeah, 21st to the end of the month. But I'm not sure whether your midterm exam and your final exam the same day or different day. I'm not sure also. Okay, any of your full-time lecturers did mention anything about that? Hello?
No.
But they mentioned that you are having a final exam and you midterm together.
I'm not sure. Maybe need to ask others.
They have not given you all, no?
I don't know.
Okay, did you get any memo from your college regarding when's your exam? But the timetable is not exact. Timetable is not out yet.
Yes, the timetable haven't provided. We are waiting.
I think maybe coming week you'll be getting, yeah? Okay, but what we'll do is that before next Thursday, in between, we'll have one, maybe 1 hour session here. and maybe after next Thursday, I'll have another class also with you. All right. So go and do work on whatever areas which I've got today, and maybe we'll try to meet up on Monday afternoon. Yet try to meet up. Yeah, I can't promise, but we'll try to meet up to go through on courts and also on nuisance and also on OSHA. OSHA, yeah, that is the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. There, the key thing you need to know is what are the rights of the employer and what are the rights of the employee, or what, okay, under the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. Okay, we'll run through that. Okay. Any questions?
Okay. No.
All right, yeah. Hey, sorry, but today we start a bit late, yeah, because I think I'm having some problem with my earphone, I think, you know. Okay, anyway, never mind. Nice talking to you all. We'll have the, if anything, I'll put it in your group, yeah?
Okay.
Okay. Still go and do some memory work on all these areas which I've got today.
All right. Okay.
Okay, bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Mr.